Roughly a year ago, at the UEFA Euro 2020, the world was shocked when the Danish midfielder Christian Eriksen suffered a cardiac arrest while playing against Finland.
Christian Eriksen still being attended to, but excited, happy faces.
A year later, Eriksen shocked the world once again when he made a full recovery and saved a club that was on the verge of relegation. We'll address that last bit in a second.
The full-time whistle at the Johan Cruyff Arena on a night when Christian Eriksen...
But for now, let's talk about how mental Eriksen's recovery was and still is. How did a man who was fighting for his life in 2021 suddenly become one of Man United's most enthusiastic signings of 2022? The entire situation becomes a little more mental when you consider that most people expected him to hang his boots. And you can't blame them. It was heart-related issues that forced the incredible Aguero to bow out of his professional career. And if you want an example that hits home, then look no further than the tragic case of Eriksen's compatriot, Abdelhal Nouri, who also suffered a heart attack mid-match that damaged his brain and ended his footballing career. However, Eriksen has proven us all wrong, and good for him. But it's worthy to note that he isn't the first to make a comeback after a heart attack. Dani Carvajal, widely regarded as one of the best right-backs of his generation, suffered something similar in 2017, but still went on to win the Champions League with Madrid in the same year. And if you look back in the past, former Nigerian international and Arsenal legend Kanu Nankwo, who was born with a heart defect, became one of the few players in history to win the Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, UEFA Cup, and an Olympic gold medal.
Cardiff put them under pressure, then certainly they didn't create anything, and Bournemouth were pretty controlled. So it's a great day for that man, Kanu, there.
So it's not all too surprising that Eriksen made a full recovery. What's probably surprising is how Inter Milan handled the aftermath of his recovery. Eriksen joined the Italian side in 2020 after leaving Tottenham in search of more playing hours, and he immediately proved himself, playing 60 matches for the Nerazzurri, scoring 8 goals, and was instrumental in the club's Series A win that season, the first in 11 years, ending Juventus's run of 9 consecutive titles. Despite all this, when Eriksen recovered and was ready for action, they refused to let him on the pitch. Their reason had to do with an Italian policy that prevented players with hard starting devices from playing. Doctors had installed an ICD device in Eriksen's heart to stop any heart-related mishaps from repeating in the future. Now, we're not blaming Inter Milan for its unfair treatment, even though it feels tempting to do just that. But with his contract slated to end in 2024, was Eriksen going to spend those 2 to 3 years on the bench? Nope, not even close. By December 2021, they came to a mutual agreement, and Eriksen became a free agent for anyone interested. Now, before we go on, you need to get a grasp of the caliber of player Eriksen is, and why it didn't make a lot of sense for Inter to let him go. Christian Eriksen is not just a good player, he is a great one. A fantastic midfielder who has constantly been a breath of fresh air to every team he has joined. In his formative years at Ajax, he slid into the classic number 10 and honed a tactical versatility that didn't go unnoticed by legends like Johan Cruyff, Lampard, and Ferdinand. Also, it doesn't hurt that he helped Ajax to their first Eredivisie title in 7 years. Then repeated the feat in following years for extra measure. In the 2013-2014 season,
Fischer, Eriksen in de drukte en dan is het eindelijk gelijk.
Eriksen moved to the Premier League, joining Tottenham. There, he scored 10 goals, and registered 13 assists across all competitions. By the end of his debut year at the club, he was named Tottenham's Player of the Season. And later on, in 2018, he would make it to the PFA Team of the Year. Eriksen had such a consistent history
En vervolgens Eriksen door. Goeie Ajax-goal.
that Ole was interested in signing him up during his controversial stint as head coach of Manchester. Unfortunately, or fortunately, one can never tell with these things. Man U didn't happen, and it was Brentford that saved Eriksen's professional career from obscurity, signing him on a 6-month deal. But, unsurprisingly, it turned out it was Brentford who needed saving. Just like we mentioned in the beginning, before Eriksen's arrival, Brentford was a team on the verge of relegation. An 8-game run with 0 wins and just 2 games left to decide whether Ivan Toney would have to repeat new goal-scoring records in the EFL Championship. It was Eriksen's arrival that turned that tide. He was instrumental in helping them with those 2 matches that ensured there would be no Premier League exit. And to prove that it wasn't some double flunk, Brentford won almost every other game Eriksen started in, including an unbelievable 4-1 trashing of Chelsea at Stamford Bridge from the first time since 1939. By the end of the season, only Kevin De Bruyne and Martin Ødegaard had created more chances than the Danish player in the Premier League. Now that we can all agree that Christian Eriksen is an elite player, let's address the elephant in the room. Brentford is not Man U. Despite the recent disappointing performances of many of the players on Man U's lineup, they still remain elite players. And to complicate matters, Manchester United has over the years been immune to rehabilitative signings. So what makes Eriksen's arrival different? Well, it all falls at the feet of Man U's new boss, Erik ten Hag, and now he intends to incorporate Christian Eriksen's skills in his plan for the club's future. From the start, the Dutchman expressly stated that he will conduct what he termed a midfield overhaul. He also made it clear that Eriksen, along with Frankie de Jong, whose transfer is currently in the works, is key to the vision. This makes sense when you consider that Paul Pogba, Nemanja Matic, Juan Mata, and Jesse Lingard left at the end of last season. However, on the tactical front next season, Ten Hag intends to reinstate Man United as a high-pressing team, deviating from the counter-attacking system that Jose Mourinho and more specifically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has conditioned the team to adapt. Eriksen is a technically gifted player that can help Ten Hag achieve his goal because the Danish player is comfortable in possession and capable of receiving the ball in tight spaces. Eriksen also provides options. Ten Hag probably sees him as capable of playing deeper in midfield, as a double 10 alongside Fernandes, or as a straight 10.
Die schiet heel fraai en dan is het ook heel mooi aan. Prachtig doelpunt van Christian Eriksen.
He is a provider of goals either through his vision and execution in open play, or through his dead ball delivery. And when you piece Eriksen's technical brilliance into United's lack of creativity in the middle of the pitch, it all fits in nicely and begins to make sense. Overall, Eriksen's presence in Ten Hag's ranks is a plus, whichever way you look at it. But the question remains, will he be enough? And with Man United's recent impressive run in the pre-season friendlies, despite Ten Hag's roster being incomplete, are we finally witnessing the early moments of a restoration of Old Trafford's glory days?